The earth is like a hook for Satan to wrap him up into, and for the day that the angel lays hold of him and ties him up for 1,000 years, and then frees him so that not it's complete, and then he can throw him into lake fire forever, while this whole universe goes small as a singularity with everything God put in it. And so it's just infinitely hot and small and then never found again, and it flies away smaller than a photon, way smaller. And the sea in between everything is removed, which pushes everything apart and holds them into spheres and holds you to it. And but anyway, that's the purpose of God. And Satan, who is the devil, is the one that's going to be there. And the flesh sins, and unless it gets a new name, it's called Satan, who is the devil. It's the devil in the flesh, and they're not going to remember anything because he didn't tell them, but in parables. I'm here to tell you what it means. Whenever the angel comes, he's bringing a long chain of genes, all the genes that ever existed here, and those who the spirit inside of them wanted, it'll remember those that it was in before, and says that it didn't hurt them and it did what God wanted, and which isn't what everybody else thinks. And whenever Christ, the life of God, the word is taken from me and everybody else, then whoever he doesn't want, all those that are left behind on the earth and risen again, it won't be the Spirit of God's life that's in them, which he found moving over this void when he opened it in the first place, and he found it in here. Really, you tried to kill God's life before time was founded, and that's why Christ said what he did. And so if you have the name Satan on you, then you're not getting in. And you'll be risen again, but it'll be the tree of life as the reward, and that won't be the same. And then it'll be time to torment Satan, who is the devil, because his life is already out of him, and they can't die for the 1,000 years, and then they can't die in lake fire either forever. And they are the devil, and that's why it was written in parables. I'm telling you right now that that's the truth, and there's so many people that it's like sands of the seas, really. And once Satan's set free, then they all are back out in the light again. And they're all going out to make war against each other, everybody against everybody else. And they're all mad and insane, and it's only evilness that's left behind. And it's thrown into lake fire forever and forgotten as heaven opens for the first time ever, and everything is made new. And there's 12 pearls locked within those who get in, and then nobody knows, there's no pecking order, but some get more of God's light absorbed all at once the whole time they're there than others. And it'll be forever there, but for the rest, it's lake fire, it's second death. And I mean people who love money and who use God's name for entertainment and blasphemies, who use the cross and carry it to show off that they're Christians, that ask the cross to carry them. All these other people who didn't become a prophet and didn't go out and tell them what I'm telling them, the whole point to this place is not welcome into the Father's heart, because you didn't want to be part of it now, so you never will be. And so if you murdered somebody, or you murder, or you torture anything, then you're not welcome. You're going to be tortured and murdered. You're going to die the second death, which is lake fire, and it's forever. And time ended there. Heaven opened. And God forgot about the outside. He left his memory of it here. And so he didn't even condemn anything even in it. He just told heaven, I want it opened. And there's never going to be sleep there, or any need to, or any more pains, and everything's made new for those who kept the testimony of Christ. And if you were invited to the holy table, the holy lamb, the holy supper, you would know that what I'm saying is what was taught. They saw the skies and fell at his knees and asked him to take it away from them. They couldn't handle that. Well, if you can handle it and you want to know why you're here, then I'm telling you why. I even tell you what gravity is, but you wouldn't believe me anyway. But it's the opposite. It's the force, not the pull. And most people on television don't want me, and they show more and more things I've asked them for the last year or so not to do, and the Lord's asked, and they keep doing it. And I've been kicked off YouTube for it, and I've already told people these things in chat rooms. Nobody wants him. And I carry that with me. I carry the burden, and people laugh, and they make fun, and I forgive them, because I'm not going to become them and try to get even. It's more important than that. God lets you sin because That's the purpose of the whole place. Jesus didn't make it heaven on earth. The atheist says, how come if God's real, then a little baby died? Instead, I say, well, he let it happen because his purpose is that great, and he doesn't want bad things to happen, except for, especially not to little babies and stuff. But the devil has to be somewhere, and he has to be wrapped up. Look at the Men in Black movie. Don't let him leave this planet. You see? And so God can understand a whole lot of the fury when you lose your baby or a loved one. And I've lost something that's very precious, and it sucks. It's one of the worst things. My lungs don't work right anymore because of a poisoning. You can hear how I have trouble. My lungs won't close all the way. But I embrace God more and say, and I fear him more because I'm here with people who do sin, and I have to watch television, and it's people who I've already told and emailed, and they hate God, it seems. They say, you're the devil, you're the false prophet, you're an idiot, you're a loser. Nobody wants you if you take the burden of Christ and have that bread of life, because it was not, that Last Supper was not food for the flesh. It wasn't that kind of bread broken. It was the Word of God broken so that they could understand it. And blessed are those invited to the Last Supper, which is the revelation. And the beast is money, and those who love it have the number 666. That's the number of its name, because they love to be a millionaire with 6 digits, and that's really what most of them are called. Some billionaires, but they're even worse than that even. I mean, they're all just as bad. Some of the movies that some of these people make are wonderful. There's not a sin found in that, except for they're rich and they're business people. Business people are those people with the number of its name on their head, the beast. A name of blasphemy on each of those heads, the bills, the pieces of paper, and God we trust. God doesn't charge things. You say, why can't life be free? Take it away, Lord. But you're singing that song, and you're charging money for it, so you're a hypocrite. You're a blasphemer. You worship the statue. You cannot worship wars and the fact that America won the war. Good. God blessed him to do that for his purpose so the earth didn't end like the terrorist and the devil wants. The devil himself and the worst people of Satan, they'll kill themselves even out of just pure rage and anger because they belong all the way to the evil one. But the truth be told, you can't belong at all to him and get in. But the Lord is very just and kind and good. Don't get me wrong. But quit getting emotions tied in with God and quit running your mouth so much everywhere and talking about God and going, oh, I feel God. I'm listening to spiritual music and it's a God bless America, and they make fireworks fall from the skies in the sight of men. And really they work for the false prophet who does miracles with the beast and for it. Before the beast wrought miracles before it. And so people would look up and say, God bless America, and sing God and hallelujah, and there's no place found for them. God's coming and he judges them guilty for what they've done to the earth. And she straddles all the oceans of the waters of life. And she fornicates. She screws everybody else. And they screw her back. And anyone caught fornicating with that woman is going to be going with her. So you who are poor in spirit, you who are tired of the wine that's the comforting wine that they give, and you're not a hypocrite anymore, and you say, I don't think that there's a God even, because they can't tell me why Bambi dies, which doesn't exist, and I love it, but then there's no such thing as love. Right, that's an emotion, and there's nothing wrong with an emotion of survival mechanisms, like loving your kid or your friends, and wanting to be around people and not be lonely like I am all the time. That's like being with the pack. That's what God made you after the sin to do. And it was all set up. He went to rest. The snake was very cunning. It didn't say words. But it wasn't made in the image of God. No animal was. Not even those ape-like men that usually worked on all fours and sometimes on two. They died with the dinosaurs. God's time was the time his lifeline went over the void, which is the huge universe as it opened. And so science is kind of right, but it's not. And I'm here to tell you I can explain everything. The snake in eating that plant, and it didn't die right away, and it wasn't made in the image of God. It was telling Eve, look, I'm eating it. I'm not dead. You'll not surely die. You'll become wise like me. But God made the snake cunning, but not in an evil way, like the devil was cunning in an evil way.